Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Male. I am a Soundsay artist and musician, and lately I've been going viral on Instagram, and I just want to show all types of love to everyone who has been supporting me and everyone who's been showing me hate as well. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love and respect my haters just as much as my fans because ultimately I wouldn't have even gone viral if it wasn't for my haters giving me so much attention and comments and just boosting my algorithm to a level that I've never seen. Like 2.2 million views. I'm getting 30K views, almost 40K in the past couple of days off of new posts. Like every time I'm posting, I'm getting at least 10K views on reels. And I've never really received this type of attention on Instagram before. So I really have to thank my haters and I respect them ultimately. I've been noticing a lot of people have been misconstruing my last post that I made about my story time video that I released on YouTube. And I was sharing snippets of it. And in the song Story Time, I'm talking about growing up in the projects and basically telling people that the narrative of being a gang member, being a drug addict, a druggie, a drug dealer, and all these negative things that are connected with being in the projects and being in the hood aren't cool. Like, they're not that dope, and it's not something that we should really like put so much emphasis on making us feel like we're somebody coming out of the hood. And I know a lot of people think I'm trying to be hard when really I'm just telling my story. I'm not trying to portray something I'm not. Like, ultimately, I grew up in the projects. My whole family grew up very poor, very much in poverty, like below the poverty line, honestly. A lot of my family has been affiliated with gangs, prison system, um, drugs, the drug dealer, pimping, all that stuff. I got family members who have done decades in prison. I've lost family members to drugs. I my parents were had substance abuse issues. I had siblings that were murdered behind gang violence, and they weren't even in gangs. They were like innocent bystanders. And so much of my family has a lot of history in being in and out of the system. It's like systemically, like, my family has gone through a lot in America. And, majority of my family, no matter what part of the country they're in, they're dealing with these types of narratives and having to basically like work their way from the bottom and come out the mud. And I was lucky enough to have music. I didn't want that life for myself. I saw what it did to other people who chose to want to be a part of that life, to use drugs as a coping mechanism to dealing with all the drama that was going on in their life. And being forced to have to affiliate with gangs because they just didn't have a choice. Like, I luckily had a choice because I was a musician. I've been playing music since I was 4 years old, and I've been playing 12 instruments since I was about 12. Like, I've been fluent with understanding how music works and speaking that language to people and living my life according to the laws of music. And as somebody who's like always been kind of like an influencer, even if it's been within my small circle of people, I know speaking life into people is something I really try my best to do. Now, I know lately in the comment section, I've been roasting a lot of people, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, when people are talking mess in my comment section, I genuinely appreciate it because I grew up in a family where everybody kind of punked on each other. Like, it was part of like tough love, like, so, if I'm kind of used to that and I see that in public, like in the comment section, I take it in that way. So when I see all these like hate comments, I take it like tough love. Like, I don't see it as somebody who genuinely hates me because I don't believe someone can really hate me if they don't know me. Like, I see people who and maybe even a lot of them are adolescent teenagers who have a lot of angst, who are just using my platform as a way to get that angst out. And it's honestly, it feels good to feel like I'm a safe space for people to kind of like talk crap, because I'm not going to be one of those people who like try to really sick people to try to shut you up. Like, no, like we live in America, there's freedom of speech. Not everybody is going to like my music. And I make my music for the people who really, really genuinely appreciate what I do. And I also make my music for me. But, at the end of the day, not everyone's going to like it. And that's okay. Like, if you don't like my music out there and you feel like it's something that bothers you to the core of, your existence, then that's cool. Like, it says more about you than it does about me, because if you have something that you're seeing on a screen that's bringing so much hate in your life, like you really got to think about why you allow so much hate in your life. And I've learned that growing up in the projects. Like, I used to be a little knucklehead. I used to be a bad kid. I used to be a really angry person. I used to be mad at the world at one point in my life because of my circumstances. So, growing from that, I look back and I see people saying things that they probably don't really understand what they're saying. Like, people say crazy things all the time when they feel like there's no consequences. And, you know, a lot of it stems from not having the right outlets. Like, that's why I do music, and I encourage people to find some sort of outlet, like a positive outlet. But if social media is as positive as an outlet as you could get, then by all means, that's why I take time to take my haters and I put them in a group chat. And I'm not gonna lie, like, we be cussing each other out and saying like crazy stuff, but it's a safe space for them to be crazy, because I understand that, like, verbally sometimes being aggressive and being a bullies get bullied, and that's how they learn how to be like that. And like, I've learned how to be really funny and roast people because I was bullied, and now like I know I could be a big bully. And that's another reason why I understand, like, when I'm talking mess back to people, like, I'm not trying to bully y'all. Like, it's very quick for me to be quick-witted, and I'm really doing it just because I feel like y'all are being funny, and I'm just gonna be funny. Like, I don't feel like the weight of the hate, if there is a lot of weight of hate that's being thrown at me. I honestly am super lighthearted about that stuff. I think it's funny. Like, I wake up and I read these hateful comments, and some of it's like hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Like, some of y'all are freaking hilarious. That's why I pinned some of these comments. I am not gonna lie. I pinned some of these comments, and like, I just enjoy it sometimes. Like, it's just people expressing themselves, and I'm not gonna hate on it, because at the end of the day, like, I respect your mind. If you don't, I respect your opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And you not liking it and expressing how much you don't like it on my page makes me feel like I'm doing something right. Because if you don't like something so much that your first instinct is to comment instead of just blocking me, you must not hate it that much. And I'm obviously something that's playing in your mind, because every time you're commenting, you're putting me up in views, and you're putting me up in the algorithm with the comments. And I'm honestly grateful. So thank you. Like, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I wouldn't really be here without my haters or my fans, because I know a lot of my fans, they're not able to feel like they can express their admiration for me and their respect for my talents publicly, because they're afraid to get harassed by the haters. And I do get a lot of people who hate me up in the DMs, and they see what I'm talking about, and it really does hit home for them. And that's why I make the music that I make, because I know a lot of people have grown up the way that I've grown up, and they don't have that in between of music where it's like, it's still like kind of hood, but it's not, it's positive. And like, like, I grew up listening to, like, Mac Dre and Mac Mall, Brother Lynch Hung. I grew up listening to like really heavy stuff, and it's because of the environment that I was around. When it comes to rap, I grew up listening to like real gangster rap, but I was never a gangster. I was never trying to perpetuate that image. I never wanted to be a part of that lifestyle, even if in some kind of way it was always around me. And so that's why, like, I took a lot of influence from like people like Equipto and people like Lauren Hill and a lot more positive rappers who really try to spit a message. And ultimately, that's what I do. And I know a lot of people probably feel hate towards me because in my song Storytime, I'm basically hating on that lifestyle, a little bit. I am, and I do have like I do have my issues with that lifestyle because it affected me and it still affects me to this day with so many people that I've lost, so many people who've been displaced out of where where I grew up at, where I still live, and it sucks that like my community has been shattered by gang violence and just violence in general and drugs. Like it's sad. It's disheartening. I feel like, especially in the state of the world now, like I feel like my people, we can't even really be involved with politics that are going on way bigger than us because of the politics that are happening in the street. And I feel like it's important to talk about in order for us to move forward as a people. And that's why I spit a message and everything I'm saying. I know it's hard for people who are older to get out of their ways. I know like people in their 40s and 50s who are stuck with this mentality. It's a lot harder for them to like unlearn this behavior, unlearn these ideologies, and really do right. And some of them do learn, and sometimes it's too late. They've already like been to prison and kind of ruined their life a bit, and they're having to start all over. And I don't want to see youngsters do that same thing. And that's why I talk about like basically the youth being, misled by people who are still waking up and they're older. And, I'm 31 years old. Like, I'm able to understand that walking down a path of violence and drugs isn't going to get you anywhere but feeling regretful of all the things that the life that you really could have lived. So, I'm hoping that with the message that I'm trying to portray and give in my music is being heard by somebody who might find it as a like an inspiration for them to do better, learn more, you know, bring more like tastes to their palate and not just allow for them to be a product of their environment in a negative way, because I'm also a product of my environment. Not everybody who comes out the hood is going to be a statistic, and you don't have to be a statistic. Having a positive outlet is one of the number one ways that makes you less likely to be a statistic coming out of really disenfranchised communities. So, I encourage you pick up some sort of positive outlet. If you like fighting, you like violence, get into boxing, get into karate. If you like being creative, they have artwork. If you like tagging the walls, graffiti is a form of artwork. People do spray painting as an actual job. They do it for murals. Like when you see murals on schools, a lot of that stuff is paid by like graffiti artists who have learned to stop doing it illegally and doing it, being a professional about it. So there's so many ways where hip hop and the actual culture of hip hop is a gateway for things that we see as like a negative narrative, and it's a gateway to be turned into a positive. And even a lot of those of y'all who are like really into gun culture, like like being somebody who has an understanding of weaponry is also important, especially in the society that we live in. Like people are going to war. Like there's really serious things going on out here, and it's good to have knowledge of different things, but it's also good to use this knowledge as a way to empower your community and not to like bring everybody down. So for those of y'all who think I'm trying to be hard and think that I'm trying to make myself out to be somebody who I'm not, I think that your idea of what hard is needs to be challenged. Because yes, I grew up tough, but never have I ever tried to act like I was hard, and never have I ever said I was hard. So I think what's more important is for you to challenge your ideas of why you really think people who are like me, who are trying to push a better and positive narrative for others to follow with the words that I speak and the way that I live my life. Like, why do you feel that that threatens you? I think that's a more important question and something to really sit on. Like, why does that threaten you? Like, because it threatens your ideas of what is cool. It threatens your identity. Does it threaten, the friendships and the relationships around you? And I understand, like, if what I say is offensive, none of it is meant to be offensive. All of it is meant to be thought provoking. But when you speak truth and you give wisdom to others, whether they want it or not, it is going to feel like I'm bursting your bubble. And it is going to feel like I'm attacking you. But I want you to understand that it's not an attack on who you are, it's an attack on what you believe. And it's a challenge to what you believe. And just because somebody doesn't agree with what you believe, doesn't mean that they hate you and that they want to be hard. I want to see my haters grow just as much as I want to see my fans grow. And I think that everyone deserves to have a chance at a good life. So, for all of y'all out here who, see me and for some reason have a list of things of why you hate me, I don't want you to hate me because it hurts my feelings. I don't want you to hate me because you shouldn't live with hate in your heart. That is a heavy burden to carry. So I hope that you do everything in your power to heal that habit and that cycle of allowing yourself to have festering emotions that make you hate other people that you ultimately don't know. And if you feel like you want to get to know me, my music's out on all platforms. I have videos, I have interviews. Check out more of my YouTube videos here, and you'll understand who I am. Maybe not completely, because there's still some things that I hold to myself. But for the most part, I'm very open about who I am. I'm very open about my experiences. So if you really want to get to know me, you know, all you got to do is ask. But for everyone out there who's meeting me for the first time, and this is my introduction to you, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing me love. And thank you for just giving me your time, ultimately. So moving forward, I hope you guys enjoy my music. I switch it up all the time. This music was a lot more, you know, directed to my Bay Area audience. And honestly, I was just giving the people what they want. Like, I might come out with a rock album, I might come out with a country album. I'm a musician, I play instruments. So I have so many tricks on my sleeves. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be Malay. There's always going to be a message. And I'm always going to challenge people. I'm always going to challenge myself as well. So yeah, shout out to the youngsters out there who encouraged me to try something new with this Story of the Road album, because I did it for y'all. Like, y'all wanted to hear that positive stuff on some Bay Area type beats, and I gave it to you. And this next album that I'm doing, I'm gonna do some more stuff like that, but I'm gonna stay switching it up, and you're gonna stay seeing all sides of me as a musician. So thank you. I really thank you all for challenging me, and helping me work through these new experiences. It's trial and error. I apologize for the mistakes that I make, and I apologize for the mistakes that I'll make in the future. But, L's aren't just losses, they're lessons in life, and I plan on learning all of them. So, y'all be safe out there, be happy, be love, show love.